right, guys, look at that air temp, 73 degrees. It is absolutely beautiful and clear, and tonight we switch time. What do? We go backwards an hour. Oh, that's gonna suck on Monday. Actually, that's gonna suck from every day forward. But it's kind of cool coming home when it's still daylight. Got in the fall, right when we fall back, man, you get home and it's just pitch black. You leave in black, you get home in black, it's like, holy crap. So one thing I wanted to talk about was my trip to Sturgis last year. It's, you know, I'd say late spring, you know, weather's going to be cleaning up for a lot of people. Bikes are going to be coming out. Decisions are going to be made for the summer. You know, whether or not somebody would go to Sturgis. The sun will be out of your eyes in just a few minutes here. Talk about my trip to Sturgis. It was something that it was amazing. It was something that I will never ever forget. But the weird part about it was how I went about it. I had two friends. They were booked for like a year, and they were hounding me. I'm like, oh, that's just too damn far. It's about 1,400 miles for me. I'm in Bakersfield, California, and not that I'm afraid of riding that far. It's just, my God, that's a lot of seat time. And it being summer, you know, across the Utah desert, it could be 180. But so as we got closer, you know, the jabbing got harder, I guess. And I'm like, ugh. Talked to my wife, and she's like, do it. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, let's do it. I think I said I'll do it before I really convinced myself. So my friends were taking 2 weeks. They were going through Yellowstone the first week, and a couple other, Beartooth Pass, and a couple other places, and then they were going to be in Sturgis on the Friday, the first day of Sturgis. And I was like, well, I'm not taking that long. I'll do a week. So I was like, you know what? I'll meet you in Sturgis. So they took off, and we're kind of forgot I'm riding here. I get to talking, and it's like, oh God. So we're texting, you know, that first week they're gone, they're having a blast. The pictures, I'm like, oh God, I gotta go. So I went to start looking around, booking a place, you know, looking where I could stay, because their Airbnb was already, you know, they got it for the size of them to save costs. So, you know, I couldn't join them at that time. And I wasn't sad about it with the money they paid for it. Holy hell, it was expensive. So I got on Airbnb. There were guys renting out trailers, but they still wanted like $300 a night for something I'm going to be there, you know, very little. So I'm thumbing through. I'm like, huh, what's this? 40 bucks. There's a guy right across from the junior high in Sturgis. He rents out his yard every year. 40 bucks for a campsite in his yard. I was like, I ain't above camping, and that's only $40 a night. So we booked that puppy. So off I went to Walmart, buy all the camping crap I needed, and that next Thursday, I jumped on the bike and I was headed to Sturgis by myself, 1,400 miles. The first day I got up, I left about 4 o'clock in the morning out of Bakersfield, and just trying to beat some of the heat as much as I could without, you know, driving all night or you know, all in dark. So my first plan was I was going to stop in Beaver, Utah. Well, I got to Beaver, Utah, and it was like 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, I'm not done. You know, there's half a day here. I'm not even ready to stop riding. I felt good. So I purposefully didn't book a hotel any of the nights on the road. I was going to just wing it. I mean, hell, worst case, I had everything to camp behind me. So I ended up making it all the way to Salt Lake the first night. And by luck have it, my uncle lives there. So I called him. I was about an hour out of Salt Lake. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, because he knew I was headed to Sturgis. I said, well, I'm coming into Salt Lake. He's like, come on over. So I went over, stayed there. Ended up going up to dinner with some friends, some of his friends and him, which was a blast, and got a good night's sleep, and then took off the next morning thinking, maybe I'll get to Casper. Just depends on weather and everything. Well, I got to Green River, Wyoming, and I want to say it was about noon or 1. I didn't leave quite as early. I didn't leave near as early because I was north of the heat. It wasn't going to kill me anymore. So I got to Green River, Wyoming. I stopped at Flaming Gorge Harley there, which is a cool little spot. If you ever get by there, make sure and stop. They always got water for you. Took a break there, kind of looked at the map, and I'm like, I'm not going to book anything in Casper. I'm just going to go. I'm back out on Interstate 80. I went and get to Rawlings, and I'm like, okay, I need to stop and eat, or I'm gonna be losing some energy here. So I stopped and ate in Denny's. There was a storm rolling in when I went in. Well, it was full swing about the time I was done eating. So, and believe me, there were several bikes making the trek. I mean, at every gas stop, you would see more bikes. It would just take longer because you're talking to everybody, and it was like you were at Sturgis before Sturgis. I waited out the storm in Rawlings, and I thought, oh hell, we're good to go. So I peeled out. The other people, they were talking about getting rooms in Rawlins, and I'm like, I think we're good. There's a lot of daylight left. I can throw down some miles. So I left Rawlins, got about 10 miles north, and I rode through one of the worst storms. I don't even know. I was trying to think. I don't even know if I've driven a car through a storm that bad. It was unbelievable. And believe me, I don't have superpowers with a motorcycle in weather. I can count on one hand before that how many times I'd ridden in rain. But you know what? The bike did okay. It actually did well. You slow your speed down. I mean, if you're not ridiculous with the inputs, on the wheel, and you're leaning, it's going to take care of you. And it did exactly that, man. I mean, it was full on wind, and the rain was coming at an angle like this. So I'm riding at an angle like this to try and stay in the middle of the road. But I bet you there was that much standing water on the road. It was unbelievable. It was an intense 45 minutes. After I drove through that storm, I took a picture of the radar of what I had just went through, and I'll put it right here. So I get through that, we stop, and everybody stopped at this rest stop, start peeling off rain gear. And again, there's probably a string of cars, I don't know, probably 6 miles long that was pretty tucked together. And I'm going to say there was probably 30 to 40 bikes amongst that string. Some on trailers, some ridden. I mean, it was everything in between. So after the rest stop, I'm heading north, well, kind of northeast, and I get to Casper, and there's a sweet little bypass that goes around the entire town of Casper. Before I know it, I'm on the north side of Casper, and I'm like, well, hell, I'm just going to go into Gillette. I had forgotten about the wildlife on the side of the roads, in the ditches, standing on the side of the roads. Oh my God. You can think you are some badass dude until you're doing like 65 on a 2-lane road, and you got a family of these freaking beast animals on the side. Oh my God. I clenched my bike so hard. Oh God. It happened several times, and it's amazing because I don't know how many times you see dead deer and stuff on the road. So it happens like literally hundreds of times, probably a week. So if you ever get up there, be damn careful. Dusk is when they like to come out, and they blend into shadows. They blend into just the dark corners, oh god, it'll scare the hell out of you. Got into Gillette the next morning, went into Sturgis, and I wish everybody asks me, how do you describe Sturgis? Send a picture, send a video, what's it like? I'm gonna tell you right now, if anybody sends a picture, a video from Sturgis, it doesn't do it justice. There's nothing, you can't capture something like that out of a picture or video. Yeah, you can get a great picture, but it doesn't kind of, show what the hell's really going on. I mean, it is intense. I mean, I have never seen so many bikes. So I showed up into Sturgis. I set up my campsite, went and met my uncle who had come down from Williston, North Dakota. And we hung out that afternoon. And then the next day we went on a ride. We screwed around a little bit, and then we headed out to the Badlands National Park. And I believe that was Monday. So Monday we headed out to Badlands National Park. Tuesday we were supposed to do another ride, but after so many days in a tent, I was like, I'm going back to Gillette and I'm getting a hotel. There was a hotel there that I had points for, and it was like super cheap, or it was free to me, but so I told my buddies, I'm like, hey, when you guys come through Gillette on the way home tomorrow, get gas at this exit. I'll be there. I'm going to sleep in a bed. But I'm going to try and describe some of the things. It's super cool. It's so huge, but it's so small at the same time. There's different organizations, like you can ride up to Nemo, up I believe it's Vanocker Canyon, and you'll get to Nemo. And every morning at I can't remember what club that is. But in Nemo, there's very few things in Nemo, but there's one hall type place. I don't think it was American Legion or anything like that, but the firemen put on a feed. I think it's like $10 for breakfast, and I think one morning, or the morning we went through there, I think they had done like 300 bikes they had made breakfast for. There's things like that, it goes to support firefighters and whatever they're about, in their area. Some of the other things, like you could go to, and I did this a couple of mornings, you go out to the Sturgis High School, and I think it was like $5 or $7. It was dirt cheap, but you got all you can eat breakfast made by the students. Well, I don't know that it was made by the students, but it was served by the students. And that goes to that's their athletic club fundraiser. And I'll bet you at any given time there was 800 bikes in that parking lot. We were lined up just to go have breakfast and support a good cause. Of course, there's anything you can imagine, but it's kind of cool to go support the kids at the high school. Go support the firemen. I mean, anybody can go support a business, and I'm all about that too, don't get me wrong, but the opportunity arises, I'll go to a good cause and drop some money. Oh, I lost the sun. Where'd it go? Shit, with the way the world is today, who knows if it's coming up tomorrow. So, some of the things we did, we went to Badlands National Park. My uncle's been there several times, and he knows the Black Hills like the back of his hand. And he kept asking me, where do you want to go? I'm like, I'm gonna just follow you, because I have no idea what what is. I was just, and to this day I never. So we rode a lot that Sunday, and to this day I can't pinpoint but a couple things on a map that we saw, because I was just following them. It was the coolest shit. We went around this loop-de-loop where the road basically was climbing up, and it was like a corkscrew. It was unbelievable. And then all of a sudden we make a right, and we come out of a canyon, and he points, and I look back, and holy crap, it's the So we make a right, we go through a tunnel, and my uncle points back and he's like, look at that. I'm like, oh my God, it's Mount Rushmore. And I'll put the picture up here. It is things like that that make this unbelievable. So, and it's like something happened everywhere. So when we were standing there at the tunnel of Mount Rushmore, we were taking pictures and just hanging out. There was a guy and a girl that stopped their bike. He got off his bike and asked her to marry her in that tunnel looking at Mount Rushmore. So, I mean, and then it was like we all became part of the wedding family, and we were, you know, so we hung out and shot the crap with them for a little while, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter if you have $2 in your pocket or if you have $2 million in your pocket. Sturgis doesn't care. And I say that that's a phrase off a video, and I'm going to tell you about it right now. So I want you to do something. Full Throttle Hog has a YouTube channel. Go find it, and he has a video called Sturgis Doesn't Care. I watch it. To me, it is one of the best videos on not on Facebook, on YouTube. It sums it up so well. You know, it doesn't matter. Sturgis does not care who you are. It's seen better than you. It's seen worse than you, and it's gonna see better than you and worse than you. So just go. It is a very good video. Go like it, or go watch it, go like it. Subscribe to his channel. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming out. And that video he did was on Sturgis last year, 21. I've never met him, but I mean, when it's worth mentioning, it's worth mentioning. We went to Full Throttle Saloon, hung out there. I'll put a picture there. The parking lot was just intense. The amount of bikes it's just unreal. I mean, if you had to go get fuel, you need to do it before 8 o'clock in the morning, or else you're going to be waiting at the gas stations. Because you got to remember, Sturgis is a town of, I don't remember how many people. I'll put the population up there, but it's a small, quaint little town. And all of a sudden, you know, 500, 600,000 Harleys come rolling into town. And the infrastructure needs to handle it. And they do a damn good job, man. They bring in portable gas pumps just to expand the capabilities. And you're not gonna have to wait for food. There's enough, you know. There's enough vendors all over the place. You don't have to wait for a beer. You don't have to wait for food. There's all kinds of stuff. The place we went was Iron Horse Saloon, up on the third level. It overlooked the street, and there was just I mean, you saw bikes headed out to the Buffalo Chip, Full Throttle Saloon, and just ridiculous stuff. You'd see the cops trying to, you know, they'd be pulling people over, just because people come in there, you know, just acting a fool. But I mean, it is literally 2 lanes wide. Bikes. It was like a loop video that just kept looping, but it was all different bikes. It was unbelievable. So we sat up there and hung out and just, you know, watched these bikes, and you know, somebody would be doing something on the street, and then all of a sudden everybody at the bars yelling and screaming, and it's super fun. Everybody you meet there is your brother. Everybody you meet, you have known forever, I promise. It's something I've never experienced. My point of this whole thing is, you can go to Sturgis as a solo bike. You can go as a pair. However the hell you go, it's not going to change the time you have. If I knew nobody, you would still have a blast. You walk up to any bar, any restaurant, any vending area, it doesn't matter, and you become friends with everybody. Now if you've got a rough personality that, you know, doesn't like to mingle with people, you might have a little issue, but they're gonna force you. So we went to One-Eyed Jack's, you know, and we're in One-Eyed Jack's, every bar, you like, it seems like One-Eyed Jack's is like a block long, but there's this one area where it's got 9 bars, and basically the bartenders compete for you to be at their bar. So it's kind of funny, some of the ridiculous stuff they do. You know, they're beating people with paddles, and there's yeah, everything you can think of. But the most random ass thing is this picture right here. Some guy pushing a shopping cart through One-Eyed Jack's by one of the tables, or by one of the bars. Oh my god, I almost lost my shit when I saw it. I was like, oh my god. Random, I know, but that's what you get with me, is a lot of random. So Tuesday came, I headed to Gillette. Wednesday, friends came through Gillette. I latched onto them. We made it down to, we stayed in Rock Springs, Wyoming the first night, and we had, you know, a nice dinner, nice hotel. Rock Springs is a decent little town. And then the next day we made it, you know, across 80 down to the 15 in Utah, and we shot south. We got to Mesquite, which is about 60 miles from Vegas, and we hung out, gambled a little bit, just, you know, we were freaking exhausted, but knowing we only had about 300 miles the next morning home made it all better. So bikes were rolling out of Mesquite that morning at like 5 o'clock, because it was supposed to be hot, but it put us home, you know, what, I think I was home by 11. I would do it in a hot second by myself. So if you've ever had a desire, go do it. If you're up for a challenge, go do it. You will have a blast. Just keep an open mind, and all of Sturgis is your friend, I promise, man. If anybody's on the fence about going, man, please go. It's something, you know, who knows, before, you know, anything could happen. You know, next year may not come that you're capable of riding, or financially, or whatever the reason. I mean, if you have the capability to go, just go. You can go on $500, $600, $700, or you can go on as much money as you want to spend. It does not affect your Sturgis experience, I promise. So let me know if you guys have been. Tell me about your first time. Am I on point with what you guys experienced your first trip? You know, let me know if you're one that wants to go soon, you know, or what might concern you, you know. My whole goal for this video, if one person hears this and says, you know what, I'm gonna do this, sold, done, that's what it's for. The whole accomplishment thing was huge too. I mean, I did that many miles. I can't exactly remember. I think it was 3,200 and something round trip. So I was gone, and we were back in town on Friday, so I was gone a total of 8 days. But thanks for watching, guys.